Hello everyone, I'm Yu-Chun. The collaborators and I are from Yangming Jiaotong University. It is an honor to present our latest research paper titled Predicting Smartphone Users' Time-Traveling Moments via Fusion of Smartphone Sensor Data and Screenshots. Smartphones have become essential in our daily lives, helping us with tasks like communication, navigation, and entertainment. However, providing content to our smartphone can be tough because we only have so much attention to spare. In earlier studies, researchers have explored ways to preserve our limited attention by sending information during breaks. However, our attention isn't always fully occupied. A great opportunity to identify these moments is during periods of attention surplus, such as time-traveling moments, like waiting for a train or sitting through a door speech. We believe we can use these moments for people to engage in meaningful activities by providing them with content. Our goal is to determine if we can identify these moments. If we can, we may be able to help people fill this gap by sending them additional content like questionnaire, news, reading materials, or processing text through notifications. To identify when users are involved in a time-traveling activity, we don't just rely on the phone logs and the sensor data like previous research. We also use screenshot data, which offers a wealth of information. We think that the visual feature in this screenshot can give us a valuable insight into what users are doing, and there may even be some pattern we can detect. Our aim is to create a model that can easily identify when users are using their smartphone just to kill time. To do this, we built a research app for Android devices that collect screenshots and phone sensor information. Users can label these screenshots to show when they are killing time and whether they are open to receive content notifications. We recruited 36 participants to label their phone usage time using an app we developed. With some contributing more than 15 hours per day in total, we collect the 1,622,780 labeled screenshots, and 89.6% of them were uploaded. Two-thirds of these screenshots were labeled as killing time, which means just over a quarter were not killing time. Interestingly, during killing time moments, more than 80% of participants were open to viewing notifications, while during not killing time moments, only 36.7% felt available for notifications. This finding supports our idea that users may be more receptive to notifications during this moment, and we could be potentially use this period to send them content via notifications. To determine when users are killing time, we developed a time-killing detection model using deep learning. As mentioned before, we propose a model that predicts time-killing behavior by analyzing the screenshot that consists of three subnetworks: an encoder for the phone sensor data, ES, and an encoder for the screenshot, EI, and the fusion network, F, that combines the sensor and visual features. We built three models, one using only phone sensor data, one using only screenshot data, and a full fusion model that combines both sensor and screenshot data. We then compare their performance to see if considering both sources will improve the model's performance. Our results show that the fusion model achieves the best performance in predicting time-traveling moments. In other words, using both sensor data and screenshot data is beneficial for detecting time-traveling moments. We utilize the well-known technique called Wei-Chen to create attention maps from the final convolution layer of our screenshot-only model. The attention maps allow us to pinpoint the regions in the screenshot that the fusion of screenshot-only model deemed crucial to detecting the time-traveling behavior. we discovered that in some instances, the sensor-only model incorrectly detected the time-calling behavior because it identified a series of text change events, which is more often associated with the time-calling moment. Conversely, the screenshot-only model correctly detected the time-calling behavior as it recognized the layout of the Instagram story feature, which typically link to the time-calling situations, and the fusion model detects correctly by learning the typing event in the Instagram story scenario from both sources. However, we discovered that current model has only acceptable performance for predicting scene data. We believe this may be due to the significant difference in how people kill time. We observed a lot of individual differences not only from the interviews but also from their screenshots. Fortunately, we also noticed some common patterns among them. This inspired us to consider separating participants into groups based on their usage pattern and then building models for each group separately. So we use clustering to group our participants based on their phone usage. There are many details about how we did this, and due to the time constraints, please refer to our paper if you are interested in learning more. By grouping participants based on their phone usage behavior, we identify the unique behavioral patterns. We found that the clustering user with similar overall mobile phone usage is helpful for detecting the time-calling behaviors, while the performance of the models for all groups either improved or remained at least consistent as overall performance. The accuracy of the models varied when identifying time-calling and non-time-calling moments. For example, the model for group 4 had the lowest perception among the 4 groups, but performed exceptionally well in specificity for the true negative way. This suggests that the group 4 model is good at identifying moments when users are not killing time. We closely examined the phone usage pattern of participants in group 4 and that they are often labeled playing games as not killing time rather than kill time. This could indicate that playing games is considered a serious activity for this group of participants. To conclude, our paper contains many details about the model development and the characteristics of the model for each cluster. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to discuss them in this video. Please read our paper for technical and resource details. Overall, there are 3 main takeaways from this work. First, we demonstrated that using both phone sensor and screenshot data in time-calling detection achieves a better performance than using either data source alone. We believe that complementary nature of sensor and screenshot data may be useful for detecting other behavior or moments on the phone and devices. Second, we found that it is beneficial to cluster users into groups and build models tailored to their behaviors based on their phone usage patterns. Although there are individual differences, there are also common patterns among some individuals, making their cluster-based model perform better than the general model. However, this leads to the third takeaway. Although the average performance is better, it's clear that the tailored cluster-based model's performance varies according to their clustering. They work well for certain groups, but not as much for certain others. Therefore, advance in detection of attention surplus, future research could consider personalized model and find a way to improve the cluster-based model. There are many other interesting findings in this paper. I encourage the audience to read it for more details. Thank you so much for listening.